Welcome to the channel. I'm Red Cloud, bringing you another Disgaea RPG video, talking about Supreme Laharl, Tyrant Overlord Laharl, and gonna give you some team building advice, some help, just talking about the units that can generally best support him, because this is going to be looking as if Supreme Laharl is your DPS unit, because using him as a support, you can pretty much chuck him into any team you want. But as a DPS unit, who are the best units that can support him? As you can see above my head, currently this is probably the best that I can do, because I'm missing one pivotal piece, and that is Beach Girl Laharl. Now, luckily for me, and for anyone else that wants her who doesn't currently have her, she is the current unit in the Battle Pass. I'm still considering getting it. I've got another week or two yet to make my decision, so I'm probably going to decide later on towards the end of the Battle Pass leaving. But if I got Beach Girl Laharl in, I would most likely drop Eusalia and Liazarota, and I'll tell you why in a second. I'm not going to go into too much detail about what Beach Girl Laharl can do, because by now you all probably know that, and she's been out for a while. But the key points is that she's an SP battery for spear teams. She gives extra damage to spear teams. It needs to be a whole spear team, and she also has Mega Braveheart as well. That's why she is such a pivotal unit for a spear team. And I'm pretty sure that I've seen the proper whales in the game. Some of them have gone even for 5 Tyrant Overlord Laharls. Some are going for a mix of Tyrant Overlord Laharl plus Beach Girl Laharl and maybe another unit, but that is a lot of investment. As you can see, I do have 2 Tyrant Overlord Laharls. I think for me that is plenty enough. But let's look at other units as well. If you're not a complete whale, you can pick and choose these other units I'm going to show you as well. So in the team above, you can already see Devil Girl Elizabeth, you can see Liazarota and Eusalia. The main reason I like Devil Girl Elizabeth is because of what she brings in terms of attack buffing and healing with her skill, and she also has Mega Espoir in her spell set as well. In terms of extra damage, which are abilities I usually love, she doesn't have one of those for spear teams in a supporting role, which is unfortunate, but she can be a good damage dealer herself. With her in the team, you even have an option of her being your main DPS if it's going against a male enemy. She is going to be able to get out very quickly her S move with the amount of SP she gets from the beginning of battle. So she is one of my favourite options for the team. And another healing option is of course Liazarota, who thanks to her dad is a very nice support unit for spear teams as well. But just look at those abilities, they're brilliant. Extra spear damage, extra spear attack, healing at the end of turn, and then with her skills and spells, she has that party-wide attack buff and abnormal status condition removal, as well as having mega armor break in her spells. So very useful unit to have. Having her in the team or any other monster unit in the team does mean you cannot take in Maiden Sicily. It was another unit I really do like, because what can Maiden Sicily do then? I know Eusalia is on the screen, but I'll show you Maiden Sicily first, because for me she is one of the best universal support units we have currently in the game. Extra attack, extra damage if the whole team is humanoid. She's very quick, which means she can get her buffing moves off very quickly. She has one of my favourite skills in the entire game, which is Priestess Power, where she can transfer all of her SP and buff that unit's attack by 20%. That will serve Tyrant Overlord Laharl very, very nicely. And if you are looking for an even bigger attack buff, she does have Mega Braveheart as well in her spells. So that's why I really do like her, one of my favourite units in the game currently. But if you do take her in, you can't take any monster units in really, because it just sort of negates her whole point, which is why we'll look at Eusalia next. If you don't take in Priestess Sicily, you can take in Eusalia as well. Eusalia is another universal support unit. She does do a bit more for monster units, especially physical monster units, because she can be an SP battery for them. So Laharl wouldn't receive that, but he would get her extra attack, he would get the extra damage dealt by skills, and she does have Mega Braveheart as well in her spells, so he would still be receiving quite a decent amount from her. Not saying she's first choice, an optimal choice, but I'm trying to give you as many good options as I possibly can, which is why I could not exclude New Year's Girl Laharl. Another fantastic universal support unit. Maybe not on quite the same level as Liazarota or Maiden Sicily, but still she's not far behind at all. She's got an attack buff in her abilities, she's got an SP battery one as well for the next unit after her. The whole party gets extra damage by special moves, which all these are brilliant by themselves. Adding on top of that her NE plus 3 move, Sword God's Blessing, where she can choose one ally, which would be Tyrant Overlord Laharl, and she can buff their attack by 60%. which is brilliant. Higher than Mega Braveheart, which she doesn't have in her spells. Instead, having this skill leaves her open to having Mega Arm Break and Mega Speed Boost in her spells as well. So she can bring a lot to your team. Very, very decent. Of course, another newer unit we cannot forget, and that is Formal Seraphina. Not only does she look fire, she also brings so much to your team as well. She's maybe one of the few units I regret a little bit not going a bit deeper for. I did 1 or 2 pulls for that banner. I did get Killia. I didn't want Killia for that one. I wanted Formal Seraphina. But she brings extra attack. She brings extra damage done by special moves to the whole party. Her second skill is a party-wide attack buff, as well as halving any debuffs you might have received yourselves. She can buff the party's speed if you want, give them paralysis immunity, so just all generally very decent things. As well, even her first skill, she can remove that ability seal. I know it's an uncommon thing, but she does have it, and it is actually very useful when it is needed. As well as having Mega Armor Break in her spells. And that brings me to a close, I think, of the top tier units. The next few, I'm just going to mention them very briefly, but they're not worthy really of actually being in the team. For me, they're just filler units. Until you get the other units I've stated before this, or future units which can even be better than these ones we've currently got, then these guys are just going to be absolute filler. Starting off with Void Dark, he had potential to be a very good support unit for Spear Team, but he lacks any cheap method of buffing anyone's attack. You can see at the bottom of the screen, his NE plus 3 move can buff the entire party's attack, but it costs 74. So you're going to see this maybe one every 4 or 5 turns, depending if you have SP batteries. It could be maybe a turn less, but his abilities were bringing a lot more. He had some extra spear damage, some extra spear attack going on there, but no actual attack buff. He does have Mega Armor Break in his spells, but it just doesn't make up the lack of a Braveheart move or an actual attack buffing skill move. And the other 2 units were Yukata Yukimaru and King from the 7 Deadly Sin collaboration. Both are just okay. You would probably be better off just using any other random unit that can buff attack in their abilities and has a Mega Braveheart or a skill that can buff Laharl's attack. I think I probably even prefer to take an IMA. But then that's the issue with this Laharl team, having him as a DPS. Ideally, you want to take in Beach Girl Laharl. Having Beach Girl Laharl in the team restricts you into having only a full spear team, which does mean no Liazarota, no Maiden Sicily, no Usalia, no Formal Seraphina. It takes away some very good units away from the team, but she is very good herself. I did have a look at Ram as well, because I know Ram is a spear unit, but even then I didn't think she had too much to bring as a support unit for Laharl. She's more built as an attacking unit herself. I'm sure you can do a Thunderlord Laharl comp as well. I've got one above me now that I've just quickly put together. It would serve a purpose, but it's definitely not optimal. You could probably choose better units as well, but I was trying to get Maiden Sicily in, but if I didn't have Maiden Sicily, I could put Liazarota in instead of IMA. And you'll probably even notice that I've not even mentioned Tyrant Overlords. I just don't really see him as a great support unit. He has Mega Braveheart, he can heal himself, he's got his leader ability to give Spear Team some sort of attack, but he doesn't have any extra damage dealing ability for the entire party. So for me, he didn't make it in. He would just be another filler unit for me. So let me know below, what sort of teams have you been running for Tyrant Overlord Laharl? And what other units can you think of that I didn't mention that you think could serve decently in his team? So drop me a comment below and give me your thoughts. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.